Contemporary society is becoming uniquely aware that diversity matters. The Black Lives Matter movement has shone a light on everyday injustices. Undocumented students risk prison and deportation just to pursue a bachelor's degree in the United States. The LGBTQ+ community is fighting as hard as ever for rights and recognition. Voters are making decisions that could have far-reaching consequences for these and other underrepresented populations. What can higher education do to help these communities? What do diversity and inclusion mean on a college campus? And what can be done to promote diversity and inclusion on college campuses? We traveled to 3 diverse campuses to find out. As a state college, Valencia tends to serve a diverse population. They serve this population by offering diversity and inclusion programming to all of their staff.
What we want to do too at Valencia is, we strive not to check the box. We want to recognise diversity, and the only way that you can get to inclusion is by recognising diversity, and by seeing the diversity and recognising that and talking about it and maybe being uncomfortable with it, we can get to inclusion. For a lot of people that will be uncomfortable, but we need to do that. We're developing a course, and we have 2 pieces to it already on inclusive excellence. And we did inclusive excellence through the trans star lens. Right? We have quite a large trans star community within the college. We have students, we have faculty, we have staff. And so we decided to create this course so that people could learn more about the trans star community, and all of the myths and stigmas around it could kind of get blown up. Then we developed, with the help of CARE, we worked with a lady called Rasha Muhammad, and she came in and helped to inform a workshop that we designed on inclusive excellence through the Islamic lens as well. So anytime you give something like this, it can always be timely, because there were so many myths that were exploded during that workshop, and it was great to have Rasha there. And we also offer sort of other programs that aren't necessarily diversity and inclusion based, but their content is. So for example, Louisa and I have developed another workshop called 13 Minutes of Balance. So within that, we talk about how to be calm in the midst of your day, that kind of thing. But what we do within that is we bring in practices from all over the world in that. So even the ones that don't necessarily fall under the umbrella of diversity and inclusion, we try and make them as inclusive as possible. And we have actually some leadership programs within the college for our staff, who tend to be more kind of the supervisory, managerial and executive level. And we call those pivot programs. And I've been a part of 360. So but as I've been doing that, I've managed to push in a couple of our workshops. So for example, this Friday with Pivot 360, that has all, basically 19 of the senior leaders in the college. Sandy, who's our president, he's been a part of it too. And Louisa and I are going to do 13 minutes of balance with them. So that was never brought to leadership trainings before. It was all about, let's read this book on leadership, let's look at what kind of a leader you are, which is great, and it's still there. We didn't really have any kind of diversity and inclusion practices infused into those programs, so that's also what we're trying to do. And then there's the PJI practitioner program.
This is a year-long program. It's about fixing yourself in order to get away from that us versus them mentality, and so that the peace and justice work comes from within, and you working on yourself before you can make any other type of change in the world.
I think that, and one of the main premises of PJI is all voices have value. So that brings us to the next one, which is a program we have here called SEED, SEED, and that stands for Seeking Educational Equality Through Diversity. SEED kind of looks at the difference between comfort and safety. What makes you and other people around you safe may not necessarily be comfortable. If you're going to make it a true atmosphere of safety where all voices do have value, you're unlikely to be comfortable through that process for most of it. And if you go into any of these programs, you kind of need to know that.
As a common destination for Valencia graduates, UCF receives a steady flow of diverse students, faculty, and staff. With a student population of 64,000 students, diversity programming must be able to scale from one student to the whole population.
When thinking about what diversity means to UCF, I think that whomever you talk to, you might get a different response to that question, but we know that diversity means difference, and so we are a community of 64,000 plus students. 25 years ago, our president set a goal for having, UCF be a diverse and inclusive institution. And so when we think about diversity, we think about creating spaces for students to create a home away from home. And so no matter if you're in the classroom or out of the class, we want you to feel included as a part of the campus community. We believe that if students connect to the community that they are a part of, they're more likely to go on to succeed, meaning we recruit you in, we want to retain you, progress you, and then we want to graduate you. And I think that our goal is to really meet students where they are and to see if we can help grow them. And so our job is to plant seeds and to watch them grow and develop. And sometimes we do a great job at that, and sometimes we're like, that was a miss, and we try and think of new and creative ways of doing it. Then you talk about what do we do to promote diversity. I think that by walking on this campus, you will see that it starts from the type of student that we admit into the institution. We have a Direct Connect program, which is a partnership with all of our state institutions. If you graduate with a 2.5 GPA from one of our state or community colleges, then you can direct connect into UCF and direct connect into your degree program that you want to study. And so that program is seen as a pathways program. And so a lot of students who go to state or community colleges are low income, first generation, underrepresented populations. And so when they enter a pipeline like that, it is automatically going to increase the diversity at our institution. And we are also intentional about making sure that our student body is diverse. And so our admissions counselors, they go to the four corners of the earth, as we say, to recruit students. We recruit a lot of students from in-state, but we also have a large out-of-state recruitment process as well. And then our international recruitment efforts have grown exponentially. We just built a new global UCF building, the hub of our international student recruitment education. And so we have UCF here, but we also have UCF abroad as well. That's pretty awesome. And those are a part of our new efforts. The conversations are now happening in our classroom about how do we infuse diversity and inclusion into the curriculum. We have a diversity education program for our faculty where over 500 have gone through it in a 5-year time period. And we just ask that faculty and staff take 8 diversity related, trainings every year. Then our newest way of promoting diversity is that we're getting ready to build a UCF downtown. We just had our groundbreaking last Thursday, and part of that institution will be a direct partnership with Valencia College. And the students who will start at Valencia will be able, we're in a region called Paramore, which is an underserved population. The goal is to really create another pathway into Valencia and into UCF for underrepresented populations. We want to target students that are in the local community, absolutely. And that's what we have agreed, the presidents of each institution have agreed to do, as well as the state legislatures. We received funding because that was a part of the model that they said that they would promote locally and grow. It's like growing your own and promoting from within. And so the Paramore area is a minority serving area. And, our big fear was when they decided, we're going to build UCF downtown in the Paramore area, is that what will happen to that community? Will it be gentrification? Will it be, UCF and Valencia coming in and taking over and seen as, we're here to save you? And the community doesn't feel like they need savvy, they just need access. And so it's a partnership. They built a new K-12 school down there that will feed right into the Valencia school that will then feed right into UCF. So that's very exciting. And then there's a new community center that our students will be engaging the K-12 population very early on. And so those relationships will begin to develop. I think that what I've noticed the most about our campus is that diversity has evolved. We just reached where we now qualify to be a Hispanic serving institution. In a year, we will qualify to be designated as a minority serving institution as well. And so I think that it has been easier for us because our president has made it a goal of his. It's his number 4 goal to be a diverse and inclusive institution. And so what we get to do as faculty, staff, and as students is really breathe life into those words that could just be a plaque hanging on the wall. It could be just those goals sitting on the wall. And so I think the beauty is because it's our president's goal and the board of trustees has brought into this notion that diversity and inclusion is important, it gives us kind of leeway to really see how we can be creative in making diversity and inclusion a part of our campus.
As a predominantly white institution, Rollins College faces some different challenges with their diversity programming. In addition to their diversity programming, Rollins places a premium on creating intentionally welcoming spaces to make their minority students feel welcome.
So we think about diversity across all types of diversity. So religion, sexual orientation, class, socioeconomic status, and we create a physical space that welcomes everyone.
So we have students, all types of students who are here, but it is not just on the job of the students to educate the campus on diversity. We thought about what is a disarming way to be able to have those different conversations that sometimes our students are struggling to have, and even our faculty and staff, like it's a difficult conversation sometimes. So how do we disarm one another to be able to have those conversations and ask those questions? One thing that I learned very early on is that infusing diversity with campus involvement was an intentional thing for the college to do, that it's not just our job, we educate our campus to think about what does diversity look like here. We provide a book club for our students every month, so having a book that is focused on that particular area that month. And we allow students to come together, so we give free books out, and then at the end of the month, students come together to kind of talk about that. We have a diversity council here at the college that meets bi-weekly and talking about structural things that meets directly and reports to the president, who is tasked by the president to do campus climate surveys, thinking about diversity and inclusion grants, so giving money to student and staff and faculty collaborators to provide programs to the college. There are retention groups and focus on how do we not only bring diverse students, faculty, and staff, but how do we make sure they are supported once they are here? How are we retaining and how are we bringing those students who are bringing such vibrancy to our campus, but how do we make sure that they are going to thrive once they get here?
So we've done campus climate assessment, and I've overseen that process a couple of different times now. We've learned that a lot of our students don't necessarily define diversity the way that the institution defines diversity, and that's a big gap that needs to be bridged.
I mean, honestly, we're sitting at a predominantly white institution. That's the reality here. So how do we acknowledge that first of all, and then intentionally put the supports in to support our students, our faculty, and our staff?
It's given us the opportunity to talk about what does diversity really look like? What should it look like? It gives you the opportunity to have some really hard conversations. I promise you it'll be messy, but that's really the point of it, is to stay in that messiness and really fight through it. The other side of the coin is you really need to get past diversity. Diversity is extremely important, but inclusion is so much more as well, right? When we talk about the retention of faculty, staff, and students of color in particular, it comes down to inclusion.
I want to recognize that this is still evolving. We don't have all the answers. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of work and effort that still needs to happen, and that we're in it. But this is something that Rollins needs to really focus on, and is part of our strategic plan for the next few years to come.
Diverse campuses call for diverse solutions. In one city, we found 3 schools with very different populations each finding their own ways toward inclusion. What does diversity mean on a college campus? Recognizing and embracing difference. What can be done to promote diversity and inclusion? We hope this video gives you some idea of the array of solutions being explored in higher education.